You know, Guardian Max, I've inspected countless worlds, faced many culinary criminals, but this is certainly unique. I laughed softly, nodding. Welcome to my life, Inspector. Brooklow smiled faintly, folding his arms calmly. Indeed, perhaps together we might keep this kitchen and the galaxy a little cleaner. And as the dishwasher hummed reassuringly in the background, its gentle rhythm comforting Pip's troubled heart, I felt a strange sense of peace. Maybe amidst the bizarre rituals, the moldy villains, and our obsessive inspector, we'd stumbled onto something unexpectedly meaningful. A small corner of the universe where cleanliness, community, and compassion collided, in the form of one very sacred dishwasher. Over the next few days, my kitchen became busier than a popular interstellar cafe. Aliens from across the galaxy arrived eagerly, clutching various plates, bowls, and silverware as they gathered to witness the sacred, heavy-duty purification cycle. Thanks to Inspector Broklow's strict hygiene guidelines, the kitchen was spotless and ready to receive visitors. Though it hardly resembled a normal kitchen anymore, today was special. Lyra had announced a grand cleansing ritual using the dishwasher's most powerful function, an ultra-hot, high-pressure cycle reserved only for extremely dirty dishes. Word had spread quickly, and the apartment was packed. Aliens stood shoulder to shoulder, murmuring with anticipation as they awaited the ceremony. Lyra, as always, was the radiant heart of the event. Dressed in ceremonial robes of flowing silver fabric adorned with small glowing soap bubble designs, she looked ethereal, her turquoise skin shimmering gently. Her translucent horns glowed a deep, calming purple, and her elegant tail swayed softly as she addressed the eager crowd. "Dear friends," Lyra announced gracefully, holding up a large serving platter encrusted with stubborn cheese residue. "Today, we gather to witness the ultimate test of purity. Before us is a vessel that has known the most challenging of culinary sins, melted mozzarella." The crowd gasped collectively, whispering anxiously at the platter's disgraceful condition. Inspector Brocklow stood proudly by the dishwasher, his official uniform pristine, holding a clipboard in one hand and a powerful detergent pod in the other. "High Priestess Lyra, I have approved the extra-hot sanitized cycle. With maximum temperature and cleansing agents, this dish shall achieve full hygienic redemption." Lyra nodded solemnly, placing the platter reverently inside the dishwasher. She turned toward me, eyes glistening warmly. "Guardian Max, you alone hold the sacred privilege of initiating this extraordinary purification." Feeling every eye in the crowded kitchen watching, I approached the dishwasher nervously. Thank you everyone for joining us today," I began awkwardly. "Now let's, cleanse this dish." I pressed the button labeled sanitize. The dishwasher roared instantly to life, louder and more powerful than ever before. Jets of hot water blasted the inside, and a wave of steamy heat filled the kitchen dramatically. The crowd burst into spontaneous applause, cheering enthusiastically. Lyra stepped beside me, holding my hand affectionately. "Magnificent! The vessel's impurities shall soon be eradicated." But just as everyone celebrated, a chilling voice rang through the room. "Your false purity rituals end here." The crowd parted anxiously as Lord Crust dramatically emerged from the shadows, followed by an even larger swarm of vicious crumbles. Their moldy forms snarled angrily, leaking foul-smelling slime onto the pristine kitchen floor. Inspector Brocklow drew his sanitizer ray swiftly. "Lord Crust, you're violating multiple cleanliness statutes. Leave immediately." Lord Crust sneered, unfazed. "Your pathetic rules can't stop me. Destroy the dishwasher, now." The crumbles surged forward aggressively. Chaos erupted again, aliens scrambling for safety as Lyra bravely stood her ground, spraying detergent fiercely. Grand defended the dishwasher, knocking back several mold creatures with granite fists. Squish bravely trapped more crumbles inside its gelatinous body, trembling determinedly. Inspector Brocklow fired his sanitizer ray repeatedly, vaporizing crumbles in quick succession. "Protect the dishwasher at all costs." Amid the battle, Lord Crust grinned darkly. "Too late, Inspector. Observe." My heart sank as I noticed one crumble had slipped unnoticed behind us, climbing stealthily onto the dishwasher. It yanked the appliance's control dial violently, sabotaging the cleaning cycle. The dishwasher groaned ominously, water pressure building uncontrollably inside. "Max!" Lyra shouted urgently. "The sacred appliance! It's overloading!" Inspector Broklow hurriedly tried adjusting the controls, but sparks erupted from the panel. "We must stabilize it immediately or risk an explosion of boiling water." Without hesitation, I grabbed a screwdriver from the drawer, fumbling desperately with the dishwasher's control panel. Steam hissed menacingly, the pressure dangerously high. Lyra held back advancing crumbles, courageously defending our position. Lord Crust laughed cruelly. "Your foolish obsession with cleanliness will be your downfall." Just as hope seemed lost, the mimickin jumped elegantly onto the countertop, its rainbow-colored fur glowing brightly. A soothing, calming wave of emotional energy filled the room, momentarily halting the crumbles. Lord Crust himself stumbled backward, confused by the peaceful atmosphere. "Now, Max," Inspector Broklow urged desperately. "Adjust the temperature regulator before it's too late." Hands trembling, I quickly rerouted the wiring, praying silently as sparks showered around me. With a final desperate twist, the dishwasher stabilized, water pressure dropping safely. A collective sigh of relief filled the room. Lord Crust scowled furiously, realizing his defeat. "You've won again, but your misguided rituals will crumble eventually." Inspector Broklow calmly raised his sanitizer ray. "Leave now, Lord Crust. This kitchen is under official sanitation protection." Growling angrily, Lord Crust vanished again into the shadows, taking his surviving crumbles with him. Silence returned slowly, broken only by the dishwasher gently beeping to signal completion. Lyra opened it reverently, steam billowing out dramatically. The platter emerged spotless, gleaming brilliantly in the kitchen lights. The crowd erupted into joyous applause. Inspector Broklow nodded approvingly. "Full sanitation achieved. Impressive teamwork." Lyra embraced me warmly, her eyes bright with pride. "Max, your bravery saved the sacred purification." I smiled weakly, exhausted but relieved. Just another day protecting the galaxy from moldy villains. Inspector Broklow approached, smiling faintly. "Guardian Max, you've shown admirable courage. Perhaps you should consider official employment in intergalactic food hygiene?" I laughed softly. "Maybe another time." As the crowd slowly departed, congratulating each other enthusiastically, I looked around my kitchen, now battle-scarred yet victorious. Lyra leaned gently against me, whispering softly, "Together, we've protected the purity of dishes everywhere." I chuckled warmly, squeezing her hand gently. Who knew dishwashing could become so dramatic? She smiled lovingly, eyes shining softly. In the battle between purity and chaos, dishes truly are the front line. I shook my head fondly. "Then I suppose we'd better stay prepared." And as we stood quietly beside our victorious dishwasher, the mimickin curled comfortably nearby, its fur shimmering contentedly. Inspector Broklow calmly began noting the kitchen's condition on his clipboard, satisfied yet vigilant. Amidst all this strange chaos and unexpected heroism, I finally accepted one undeniable truth. My ordinary kitchen had become a sacred battleground, and there was no turning back now. Late that evening, after all our visitors had departed, Lyra and I stood in the quiet kitchen. The space was clean again, restored meticulously by Inspector Broklow's precise standards. Yet beneath the spotless surface lingered an uneasy silence, a conversation we'd both been avoiding. Lyra quietly washed a few final utensils by hand, her silvery hair cascading gently around her shoulders, illuminated softly by moonlight. I watched her silently, unsure how to express the thoughts weighing heavily on me. "Lyra," I finally began, stepping hesitantly toward her, "I think we need to talk about all of this." She paused, turning slowly toward me, her vivid amethyst eyes filled with cautious curiosity. "About what, Max?" I sighed softly, struggling to find the right words. "About this whole dishwasher thing, this sacred ritual. Lyra, it's getting out of control." She set down a plate carefully, her translucent horns glowing faintly with confusion. "I don't understand. Everything we've done has brought so much joy, So much peace. We're cleansing dishes and souls, Max. Lyra, I said gently, stepping closer. I love your enthusiasm and sincerity, but we have to face facts. This isn't a mystical chamber. It's just a normal appliance. Her expression grew slightly hurt, her turquoise skin softly shifting colors from vibrant to muted. Are you saying our rituals mean nothing? No, not exactly, I clarified quickly. But think about it logically. Dishes don't have souls. This machine isn't magical or divine. It's just soap, water, and heat. Lyra turned away, visibly upset, her tail swaying anxiously behind her. But Max, it's become so much more. Our friends, even strangers from distant planets, find meaning here. Why would you take that away? I'm not trying to, I said softly, placing a gentle hand on her shoulder. I'm worried about everyone's safety. Lord Crust attacked us twice already and more trouble might come. Are these rituals worth risking everyone's lives? She hesitated, visibly conflicted. Her horns glowed faintly purple, reflecting her troubled emotions. You're right to worry. But can't you see how much good we've done? We've unified people through something as simple as washing dishes. Isn't that extraordinary? I exhaled slowly, frustrated yet sympathetic. Yes, it is extraordinary. But maybe the rituals have gone too far. Maybe the devotion has turned fanatical. Lyra spun toward me, eyes suddenly blazing with intensity. Fanatical? Max, do you really think I've led people astray? No, I don't think that about you, I replied earnestly. But the misunderstanding has escalated, and now it feels like we're stuck in a spiral we can't control. She shook her head gently, her voice trembling slightly. I believed you understood, Max. I thought you saw the beauty of what we've built. But maybe I was wrong. Lyra, I began helplessly, but she gently raised her hand, signaling me to stop. Maybe you're right, she whispered sadly, her horns dimming softly. Maybe my beliefs are just silly illusions. Maybe I've made a mess of things. No, I said firmly, stepping closer again. It's not silly. Your heart is genuine. Your intention's pure. I'm only asking that we be honest about what we're doing here. She gazed deeply into my eyes, searching my face for reassurance. So what do you suggest we do? Maybe we can tone things down a bit, I suggested gently. Scale back the big ceremonies. Keep it simple. Just dishwashing, nothing more. Lyra stared thoughtfully at the floor, considering my words carefully. Finally, she looked up, her eyes glistening gently. I understand your concerns, Max, but I'm afraid it's too late. The belief has already taken hold. People depend on these rituals. I sighed deeply, sensing the gravity of the situation. Then maybe we should at least clarify the truth. Explain openly to everyone that it's symbolic, not literal magic. She nodded slowly, reluctant yet accepting. Perhaps that's fair. Transparency is wise. I stepped closer again, gently taking her hands in mine. Lyra, I care about you deeply. I don't want misunderstandings or dangers to come between us. She squeezed my hand softly, her warmth reassuring. Neither do I, Max. I just want to help others. I know you do, I whispered softly, gently brushing my fingertips across her cheek. And I admire that about you. Just promise me we'll handle this carefully. She smiled faintly, leaning closer, resting her head tenderly against my shoulder. I promise, Max, we'll find the right balance together. For a moment, the kitchen fell quiet again, illuminated by gentle moonlight, peace slowly returning between us. But the silence was suddenly shattered by a frantic knocking at the door. Lyra and I exchanged anxious glances. Who is it? I called out nervously. The door burst open without waiting for an answer. Zarian, Lyra's enthusiastic golden-scaled friend, rushed inside, visibly panicked. Max! Lyra! There's trouble! Lord Crust is spreading dangerous lies! What kind of lies? Lyra asked anxiously, stepping forward quickly. Zarian's scales glittered anxiously, his eyes wide with alarm. He's turned many followers against you. He claims Max is an imposter, trying to corrupt the sacred chamber from within. Lyra's eyes flashed with anger, her horns glowing brightly purple. That's ridiculous. Max is no imposter. I stood frozen, shocked by Zarian's revelation. What does Lord Crust want? Zarian swallowed nervously, voice shaking. He's taken control of some followers, demanding they destroy your dishwasher to free them from your lies. He plans an attack soon. Lyra turned toward me urgently, eyes filled with determination. Max, we have no choice. We must defend our sanctuary. Truth or not, these rituals matter deeply to those who believe in them. I nodded slowly, accepting the challenge. All right, then let's protect the dishwasher and the people counting on us. Inspector Broklow stepped calmly from the shadows, his sanitizer ray ready. If Lord Crust wants a fight, he'll find us prepared. Lyra squeezed my hand tightly, standing bravely beside me. Together we'll preserve what we've built. I exhaled deeply, heart racing yet resolved. Together. As the quiet kitchen awaited another impending battle, I knew our lives had become irrevocably tangled with this strange conflict, where cleanliness faced chaos, belief clashed with doubt, and love was tested by truths we struggled to understand. It didn't take long before the true impact of Lord Crust's lies became clear. By morning, my once peaceful apartment building had become divided. A growing group of confused, angry alien pilgrims stood outside, shouting accusations against Lyra, Inspector Broklow, and, most troublingly, against me. From the kitchen window, I watched nervously as the protest grew louder and angrier. Lyra stood beside me, her eyes darkened with sadness, her horns softly pulsing in troubled shades of violet. Inspector Broklow paced tensely nearby, gripping his sanitizer ray tightly, clearly uncomfortable with the growing disorder. "Guardian Max is a fraud!" a voice shouted angrily from the crowd. "He seeks to corrupt our rituals." "He deceived us," another yelled bitterly. "Lord Crust revealed the truth." Lyra squeezed my hand gently, trying to reassure me. "Don't listen to them, Max. We know the truth." "Lyra, how did it get so bad so quickly?" I whispered anxiously. She shook her head sadly. "Belief can be powerful. Lord Crust twisted their faith against us." Just then the crowd parted dramatically, and Lord Crust himself strode confidently toward the front, his dark armor gleaming menacingly. His sinister voice carried clearly through the morning air. "Followers of the dishwasher," he declared, sneering mockingly, "you have been betrayed. Max is no guardian. He's merely a human deceiving you with false miracles. The so-called sacred chamber is just a machine." The crowd murmured uncertainly, confusion rippling visibly among them. Lyra stepped forward bravely, opening the window wide, addressing everyone clearly. "Friends, Lord Crust is manipulating you. Yes, Max is human, but he never claimed otherwise. Our rituals brought joy and peace. Don't let lies destroy what we've built." Lord Crust smirked coldly, stepping closer. "You speak of peace, Lyra, yet you brought chaos and danger. Your precious rituals invited mold creatures and battles. Is that the peace you promised?" Murmurs intensified. Doubt grew louder. Inspector Broklow stepped beside Lyra, his voice firm. "Lord Crust, your interference violates intergalactic hygiene regulations. Cease immediately." Lord Crust laughed scornfully. "You cling to your rules, Inspector, but rules won't save you. These followers seek truth. Truth I've given them." Lyra leaned forward passionately. "No, you gave them confusion. Our rituals united people, taught them unity and compassion." Lord Crust shook his head, feigning disappointment. "Yet your beloved Max himself doubts your rituals. Tell them, Max. Tell them you think their faith is silly superstition." All eyes turned toward me. I hesitated, my heart pounding anxiously. "I never meant—" "See?" Lord Crust interrupted triumphantly. "He admits it." The crowd gasped, shocked and betrayed. "No!" Lyra cried desperately. "Max cares deeply about you all. He just wants everyone safe." But Lord Crust pressed harder. "He cares only about controlling you. Destroy the dishwasher and end his lies." A roar erupted from the crowd, their anger now directed fully toward us. Lyra stepped back, stunned and heartbroken. "Max, I can't believe they turned so quickly." I held her tightly, feeling helpless. "Fear is powerful. He's using it to tear us apart." Inspector Broklow looked grimly determined. "We must reinforce our defenses immediately." But before we could move, A powerful crash shook the apartment building. Lord Crust had led the angry mob straight to our door, battering it open. A wave of angry aliens surged into the apartment, shouting accusations. Lyra bravely stood between them and the dishwasher, spreading her arms protectively. "Please, stop this madness! This solves nothing!" Lord Crust stepped forward menacingly, his crumbles snarling by his side. "Step aside, Lyra. Your false idol ends now." Inspector Broklow raised his sanitizer ray, voice steady. "I won't allow violence in this kitchen." "Violence is unnecessary," Lord Crust smirked. "Simply step aside." "No," Lyra said defiantly, eyes glowing fiercely. "If you harm this place, you harm the very thing you claim to protect, truth itself." The crowd hesitated, momentarily uncertain again. Lord Crust narrowed his eyes coldly. "Fine. I gave you a chance." Suddenly, his crumbles attacked, lunging at us violently. Chaos filled the small space. Inspector Broklow fired his sanitizer ray repeatedly, desperately holding back the moldy swarm. Grand, Mookie, and Zarian rushed to our aid, defending Lyra and the dishwasher fiercely. In the turmoil, Lord Crust slipped closer to me, grabbing my arm forcefully. "Guardian Max, time to reveal your true nature." Before I could react, he dragged me roughly toward the dishwasher. The crowd watched nervously, unsure of his intentions. "Watch closely," Lord Crust shouted, dramatically flinging open the dishwasher. "See your precious machine for what it truly is." Steam hissed outward dramatically. Inside was nothing but spotless dishes. No magic, no souls, no divine power. The crowd stared uncertainly. "Just dishes," Lord Crust sneered cruelly. "No miracles, just a human trick." Lara cried out in frustration, eyes pleading with the crowd. "We never lied. The rituals were symbolic, bringing hope and joy. Isn't that miracle enough?" The room fell silent, uncertain. Slowly, one small voice spoke up. Pip, the shy, pink-furred alien, stepped forward nervously. "I never needed it to be magic. The rituals made me feel safe, connected. Wasn't that enough?" Others murmured agreement, gradually realizing the truth. Lord Crust's expression darkened furiously. "Fools, you prefer comforting lies over truth?" Pip stepped closer bravely, facing Lord Crust calmly. "We choose unity over division." Inspector Broklow aimed his ray firmly. "Lord Crust, you've lost. Leave now." Lord Crust scowled bitterly, knowing defeat. "This isn't over. One day you'll regret choosing illusions." With a harsh growl, he retreated swiftly, disappearing with his crumbles. The crowd stood quietly, eyes remorseful. Lyra stepped forward gently, her voice warm. "Belief isn't about magic. It's about hope, connection, community. If that's false, I'll gladly embrace it." Slowly, the crowd nodded, understanding returning. "We're sorry," someone whispered. Lyra smiled warmly, forgiving them instantly. "No apologies. We all learned something today." Inspector Broklow holstered his sanitizer ray, relieved. "Harmony restored. Excellent." As the crowd quietly dispersed, Lyra turned toward me softly, eyes tender. "Max, thank you for standing by me." I embraced her gently, feeling deeply grateful. Always. In the now peaceful kitchen, surrounded by friends who finally understood, I realized something profound. Truth isn't always literal magic. It's the warmth we share, the unity we create, and the courage to stand together, even when faith feels uncertain. After Lord Crust's failed attempt to sabotage our rituals, the apartment finally returned to a tense but welcome quiet. The kitchen, recently a battleground, was now peaceful, filled only with the faint hum of the dishwasher, completing another successful cycle. Lyra, Inspector Broklow, and I sat around the small table, each of us contemplating the strange events we'd just survived. Lyra was the first to break the silence, softly brushing back a stray lock of her shimmering silver hair. Her horns glowed gently, reflecting her thoughtful mood. "Inspector Max, today proved something important. Our unity, even against deception, is stronger than any mold villain's lies." Inspector Broklow nodded solemnly, tapping his clipboard thoughtfully. "Indeed, High Priestess Lyra. Our unusual alliance successfully prevented a galactic hygiene catastrophe. However, vigilance remains necessary. Lord Crust rarely accepts defeat gracefully. I leaned forward, fingers nervously drumming the table. Agreed, but how do we stay prepared without constantly living on edge? I don't want my kitchen turning into a permanent war zone. Inspector Broklow sighed sympathetically, setting aside his notes. Guardian Max, I understand your frustration. Perhaps the solution lies in proactive, rather than reactive measures. Lyra tilted her head curiously. Proactive measures? Precisely, Broklow explained calmly. Instead of waiting for Lord Crust's next move, we should actively defend the kitchen and your followers through organized sanitation training. Equip everyone to resist moldy influences. I chuckled softly, shaking my head. You mean turn my kitchen cult into a hygiene boot camp? Broklow's expression remained serious. Exactly. Cleanliness is our strongest defense. Education about dishwashing protocol and proper kitchen etiquette could solidify your followers' faith, ensuring they're not easily swayed again. Lyra's eyes brightened excitedly, her tail swaying softly. Inspector, your wisdom is truly inspiring. Ritualized hygiene training would strengthen bonds within our community and discourage mold creatures like the Crumbles. I smiled weakly, still slightly bewildered. So our solution to prevent future kitchen invasions is hygiene classes? Broklow nodded solemnly. Precisely, Guardian Max. Cleanliness leads directly to stability. Lyra squeezed my hand affectionately. Max, imagine how empowering it would be. We'd provide a sense of purpose, unity, and practical skills, everything our followers need. I sighed softly, looking between them both. All right, hygiene boot camp it is, but if Lord Crust shows up again, we'll need more than soap and dish towels. Inspector Broklow leaned back thoughtfully, steepling his fingers. Correct. To ensure maximum protection, I recommend installing additional defenses, specifically automated sanitizer dispensers and mold deterrent shields. Lyra clapped her hands together joyfully. Magnificent! Our sacred chamber shall become impenetrable. I chuckled again, shaking my head fondly. I can't believe I'm saying this, but sure, let's fortify my dishwasher. Inspector Broklow smiled faintly, clearly pleased. Excellent decision, Guardian Max. I will oversee the installation immediately. Before we could finalize our plans, another gentle knock sounded at the door. Lyra moved to answer, revealing Pip standing timidly on the threshold, accompanied by several other followers who appeared deeply remorseful. High Priestess Lyra, Guardian Max, Pip said softly, her enormous eyes filled with sincerity. We wanted to apologize again for doubting you. We allowed fear to cloud our judgment. Lyra reached out warmly, gently placing a hand on Pip's shoulder. No apology needed, Pip. Fear can affect anyone, but true strength is acknowledging our mistakes and learning from them. Pip smiled gratefully. We'd like to help. Lord Crust's manipulations taught us something important. Unity and trust are sacred. We're ready to defend the kitchen and our community. Inspector Broklow stepped forward approvingly, nodding. An admirable attitude. We'll start training immediately. Pip and her friends looked eagerly determined. Whatever it takes. As the group gathered inside, ready to embrace hygiene training wholeheartedly, I couldn't help but smile. The strangeness of my situation suddenly felt less overwhelming. Instead, a surprising sense of purpose and community filled my apartment, something I hadn't expected from a misunderstood kitchen appliance. Lyra leaned gently against my side, whispering softly, You see, Max? From misunderstanding came unity, from confusion came clarity. Isn't that something truly beautiful? I squeezed her hand affectionately. It certainly is. Inspector Broklow organized the group efficiently, distributing detailed hygiene guides and instructing each alien carefully. I watched with quiet amusement as my small kitchen transformed yet again, this time into an enthusiastic classroom dedicated to cleanliness and unity. And just as I began relaxing into this newfound sense of stability, another urgent message flashed across Inspector Broklow's communication device. He read it quickly, expression immediately darkening. What is it? Lyra asked anxiously, noticing his sudden change. Broklow turned toward us gravely. Lord Crust isn't finished. He's gathering a massive force, larger than before. His goal is now total destruction of our rituals. He calls it the day of the great moldy reckoning. Lyra's eyes narrowed fiercely, her horns glowing brilliantly purple. Then we must stand firm. He underestimates the power of clean dishes and unity. I straightened determinedly, exhaling slowly. All right, if he wants a battle, he'll get one. But this time, we'll be prepared. Inspector Brokelow nodded solemnly, holding his sanitizer ray confidently. Together, we'll ensure cleanliness triumphs over chaos. Lyra smiled bravely, reaching for my hand again. Always together. As we stood united, our unlikely alliance stronger than ever, I finally realized something vital. Even the strangest misunderstandings can lead to extraordinary connections. And perhaps that was the true power behind our so-called dishwasher cult. It wasn't magic or mysticism. It was simply the courage to stand together, clean dishes or not. We knew Lord Crust's final assault was inevitable. Inspector Brokelow prepared meticulously, installing automated sanitizer dispensers, mold-resistant barriers, and protective force fields around my once humble dishwasher. Lyra diligently trained our loyal followers, who quickly became skilled defenders armed with detergent bottles, scrubbing brushes, and clean kitchen towels as weapons. Days later, as twilight painted the sky in the shades of deep purple and orange, the predicted assault finally arrived. From the apartment window, we saw a sprawling army approaching, led by Lord Crust himself, his armor darker, his eyes fiercer, surrounded by countless crumbles snarling viciously. The air filled with the stench of mold and spoiled food, making my stomach churn nervously. Lyra stood confidently beside me, her silver hair shimmering softly in the fading daylight, horns pulsing brightly with determined energy. Inspector Brokelow calmly checked his sanitizer ray one last time, his expression grim yet unyielding. Lord Crust stopped directly in front of the building, his voice booming ominously through the night. "This ends tonight. Surrender your false dishwasher idol, or face destruction." Lyra leaned from the window defiantly. "Never! We protect the unity and purity we've built together." Lord Crust sneered coldly. "Then prepare yourselves. Tonight, your illusions fall." At his command, the army surged forward, crashing through the entrance and quickly overwhelming the hallways. Shouts and chaos erupted immediately. Lyra rallied our defenders bravely, positioning them strategically throughout the apartment. "Remember your training," she shouted firmly. "Stand strong, stay clean, fight bravely." Inspector Brokelow took command calmly, spraying sanitizer rays methodically, vaporizing crumbles with flawless precision. "Hold steady! Do not allow them near the dishwasher." The battle intensified, waves of mold creatures relentlessly pushing forward. Grand defended fiercely, fists flying powerfully, crushing crumbles to harmless powder. Mookie hovered above, bravely dousing enemies with bottles of dish soap. Squish absorbed numerous crumbles into his gelatinous body, courageously neutralizing them despite trembling visibly. But despite our brave efforts, the overwhelming numbers forced us steadily backward into the kitchen, exactly where Lord Crust wanted us. His dark laughter filled the crowded space as he stepped forward triumphantly. "Behold your downfall," he declared smugly. "Your dishwasher rituals end now." Inspector Brokelow stood protectively between Lord Crust and the appliance, sanitizer ray steady. "Your destructive hygiene violations will not succeed." Lord Crust smiled maliciously, unfazed. "Observe true power." Suddenly, a massive crumble, composed entirely of rancid grease and spoiled food, burst through the kitchen wall, roaring terrifyingly. Lyra gasped in shock, stepping backward defensively. Lord Crust pointed dramatically. "Destroy their false idol!" The giant crumble surged toward the dishwasher. I quickly stepped forward, heart pounding. "No, stop!" But before it reached the appliance, the dishwasher unexpectedly activated, glowing brilliantly, a blinding white light flooding the kitchen. Everyone froze, staring in awe. Lyra whispered softly, amazed. "Max, is this your doing?" I shook my head in disbelief. "I didn't touch anything." Lord Crust shielded his eyes, confused and angry. "Impossible." From inside the dishwasher's radiant glow, A gentle voice echoed clearly through the chaos. Fear not, defenders of cleanliness. Your unity, your faith in each other, has awakened me. Slowly the brilliant glow condensed, forming into a small, delicate figure, an entity of pure light, shimmering gently like liquid crystal. The being floated serenely above the appliance, calm and peaceful. Inspector Brocklow stared reverently. Who or what are you? The being smiled gently. I am the embodiment of unity, hope, and cleanliness, created by the very belief and goodwill you fostered here. Lord Crust stepped back fearfully, stunned. You're not real. The entity turned toward him kindly yet firmly. I am real because their faith made me real. Their rituals weren't mere illusions. They created genuine connections, compassion, and community. That is true power. Lyra's eyes glistened joyously, horns glowing brilliantly. Our faith, it created something beautiful. The being nodded gently. Exactly, Lyra. Belief, when sincere, can shape reality. Lord Crust snarled furiously, commanding his giant crumble. Destroy them! The creature lunged forward, but the entity calmly raised one delicate hand, emitting a wave of pure cleansing light. Instantly, the monstrous crumble dissolved harmlessly into sparkling mist. Lord Crust stared in horror, his army retreating fearfully. No! My chaos! Inspector Brocklow stepped forward confidently. Your reign of mold and disorder ends now, Lord Crust. Surrounded and defeated, Lord Crust backed away anxiously. This isn't over. You can't defeat chaos forever. The glowing entity smiled softly, voice calm. Chaos will always exist, but unity, compassion, and cleanliness will always prevail. Now go and reconsider your ways. Realizing total defeat, Lord Crust fled hurriedly, disappearing into darkness with his defeated forces. As peace returned, the luminous being floated gently before us. Your belief, your unity, transformed a simple appliance into something profound. Remember, real miracles lie in community, kindness, and courage. Slowly, the entity faded gently back into the dishwasher, its soft glow lingering warmly. The kitchen fell silent again, everyone speechless. Inspector Brocklow cleared his throat respectfully. That was unexpected. Lyra embraced me joyously, laughing softly through relieved tears. Max, our rituals, they really mattered. I hugged her tightly, astonished and deeply moved. Apparently they did. The followers cheered, their faith stronger than ever. Inspector Brocklow smiled faintly, holstering his sanitizer ray, satisfied. Remarkable victory. Standing quietly beside Lyra, her warmth comforting me, I finally understood something deeply profound. Our strange rituals, born from misunderstanding and humor, had genuinely created something real: unity, compassion, and the power to overcome chaos. And perhaps that truly was the miracle we'd been seeking all along. In the days that followed our dramatic victory, life began settling into a new normal, a far more pleasant, peaceful, and surprisingly meaningful one. With Lord Crust defeated and the galaxy's hygiene threats firmly under control, my small kitchen gradually returned to its original function, although now it was undeniably famous across multiple star systems. Inspector Brocklow remained with us, supervising the establishment of permanent sanitation protocols and ensuring our kitchen stayed impeccably clean. He even loosened up slightly, occasionally smiling faintly as he taught alien pilgrims the proper ratio of dish soap to water. Lyra gracefully stepped back from her role as High Priestess, choosing instead to embrace a more personal path of helping individuals find comfort and peace through simple, everyday rituals. Though she'd relinquished her robes, she remained beloved, her silvery hair always shimmering gently, turquoise skin glowing warmly as she greeted visitors with kindness and compassion. Today our apartment bustled cheerfully. Visitors came and went regularly, not as fanatical followers, but as friends, drawn to the warmth and community we'd inadvertently created. The dishwasher, still considered sacred by many, hummed quietly in the background, faithfully cleansing dishes. But now everyone understood its true symbolism: unity, compassion, and cleanliness. As evening arrived, Lyra, Inspector Brocklow, and I stood quietly in the kitchen, reflecting on our strange journey. Guardian Max, Brocklow began, his voice calm and thoughtful. I must admit, your unconventional kitchen rituals taught me something valuable, that rules and hygiene alone aren't enough. True cleanliness requires community and compassion. I smiled warmly. Coming from you, Inspector, that means a lot. He nodded respectfully. It's been an honor serving alongside you. I'll be recommending your kitchen as an official intergalactic sanitation education center. Lyra laughed softly, leaning gently against me. We appreciate that, Inspector. Brocklow's expression softened briefly, and he finally allowed himself a genuine smile. It was, enjoyable working with you both. Just then, Pip timidly entered the kitchen, eyes bright with excitement. Excuse me, but everyone's waiting. It's time. We followed Pip into the living room, where friends and followers had gathered warmly, laughter and conversations filling the air. Gron, Mookie, Squish, and Zarian all stood proudly near the dishwasher, their faces radiant with joy. Lyra raised her hands gently, smiling affectionately at everyone. Dear friends, today we officially transition from a sacred order into something simpler, something equally meaningful. Welcome to the Intergalactic Dishwashing Club. Everyone cheered enthusiastically, applauding warmly. Inspector Brocklow nodded approvingly, whispering softly, Excellent decision. Lyra continued warmly, her voice melodious and comforting. Our rituals began through misunderstanding, but they became so much more. They taught us unity, compassion, and kindness. Let's carry those lessons forward, continuing our shared mission of spreading hope through clean dishes. The room erupted again into applause. Gron chuckled deeply, holding up his enormous granite fists, smiling. Long live dishwashing. Mookie hovered joyously, spinning gently in the air. And unity, Squish quivered excitedly. And friendship. Zarian sparkled brilliantly, golden scales shining proudly. And cleanliness. As the celebrations continued, Lyra turned toward me softly, her eyes tender. Max, thank you for everything. I smiled warmly, squeezing her hand affectionately. Thank you for helping me see how extraordinary everyday things can become. She leaned closer, gently resting her head on my shoulder. You were right, Max. True miracles don't require magic. They just need kindness, belief, and unity. I exhaled softly, feeling deeply content. Exactly. Inspector Brocklow approached us quietly, expression serious yet warmly sincere. Guardian Max, Lyra, I'll return periodically to ensure everything remains orderly. Lyra smiled affectionately. You're always welcome, Inspector. He smiled faintly again, offering a rare chuckle. Perhaps I'll join this club myself. Everyone laughed warmly, enjoying the inspector's newfound openness. As evening settled peacefully over us, Lyra gently held my hand, whispering softly, Max, what started as confusion ended as clarity. Isn't life beautifully strange? I laughed warmly, holding her close. It certainly is. And as our dishwasher hummed contentedly in the background, faithfully washing dishes as always, I knew one thing for certain. My life would never again be ordinary, but in exchange it had become something wonderfully meaningful. Have you ever had a misunderstanding spiral into something incredible? Maybe you discovered friendships in unexpected places, or learned that everyday moments hold hidden meaning. We'd love to hear your stories. Drop a comment below, and don't forget to subscribe for more adventures right here on Alien Love Stories. Until next time, stay kind, stay clean, and remember, sometimes life's greatest miracles come from the most ordinary things.